There's a sound fight fans know by heart, the thud of leather, the roar that swells when two people throw down. But on Saturday night in San Antonio, the arena fell silent. The UFC paused the chaos for a tribute that didn't involve a belt or a rivalry. They honored Charlie Kirk, and for a few minutes, the sport famous for noise remembered a man whose voice had just been taken. Here's what we know. On September 10, 2025, during a student event at Utah Valley University in Orem, conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot. He was rushed to a local hospital and later pronounced dead. State officials and federal investigators moved fast. Utah's Department of Public Safety confirmed the basics that afternoon, and the FBI joined state and local partners to drive the case. This wasn't a rumor, it was a hard stop to a life lived on stages, microphones, and debate floors. In the days that followed, prosecutors charged Tyler Robinson, 22, with aggravated murder and related crimes, describing a politically motivated attack. The legal process will play out, but for millions, the facts already landed like a punch they never saw coming. A speaker, mid-conversation, silenced. But this wasn't just a political story. It jumped the fence right into the octagon's backyard. Joe Rogan was recording a podcast with Charlie Sheen when a producer slipped him the update. Cameras caught that beat of disbelief, a human reaction that doesn't need commentary. Rogan's tone shifted. He didn't talk policies or divisions, he talked about something more basic. No one should be killed for their views. He worried out loud about where we're headed if we can't even have conversations anymore. That clip raced across social feeds because it felt real. Shock first, then a challenge. Be better than this. Rogan sits at a strange crossroads: comedian, UFC voice, cultural lightning rod, and that's exactly why his words carried. He didn't try to win an argument. He asked for a ceasefire in the way we treat people who think differently. In times like this, that lands harder than a hot take. Transition: one voice asking for dialogue became a theme, but the MMA world didn't speak in unison. Olja didn't try to be poetic. He went straight to the point. Violence isn't how you answer opinions. Debate them, disagree, move on. Coming from a disciplined former champ, it read as a coach's note for a country that keeps swinging after the bell. Fans shared it not because of the politics, but because it sounded like the sport at its best. Rules, respect, and a clean fight. Sterling's message is the kind a fighter can deliver without sounding preachy. In the cage, you're forced to confront someone you don't like and still follow a code. That's the subtext here. Disagree hard, but keep your hands down outside the bell. It's simple, it's rare. From calm to raw, the next reaction was pure emotion. Late that night, Bryce Mitchell posted a shaky video where his voice kept catching. He said he couldn't sleep, he kept thinking about Kirk's wife and kids. It wasn't polished, it wasn't strategic. It was a fighter who usually swings big with his beliefs, suddenly sounding like a neighbor at your door saying, "Man, this hurts." That's why it cut through. Whatever you think of Bryce's opinions, he's had plenty. This one landed because it was about a family left behind. Mitchell being Mitchell, he also drifted into broader claims in other posts, sparking fresh debates because that's what happens now. Grief gets 30 seconds before the timeline asks you to pick a side. But rewind to that first video. That's the part most people shared, a reminder that the headline hides real people. Not every response sounded like prayer and reflection. One ignited a firestorm. Sean Strickland said the quiet part out loud. When he saw the tweet that Charlie Kirk had been shot, his gut reaction was excitement, a dopamine rush. He said it to a camera, then tried to explain it as proof of how desensitized we've become and how politics warps empathy. The internet torched him for it. Many fans and media called it cruel, even sociopathic. Others said he was holding up an ugly mirror. Either way, nobody ignored it. Here's why it stung. Strickland connected violence with entertainment. It's the sickness you don't want to admit you've caught scrolling for the clip, needing the shock. He framed his own reaction as a symptom, but to people grieving, it felt like celebration. That's the risk of radical honesty. It can sound like approval when you're really describing a problem. Between those extremes, grief and outrage, some voices tried to anchor the moment in patriotism and loss. Colby Covington responded in a way that lined up with his persona, respectful, patriotic, framing Kirk as a father, a leader, and a symbol. For a guy famous for turning pressers into political theater, the tone was measured, less showman, more soldier at attention. His base heard a eulogy that matched how they saw Kirk's work and influence. You don't have to agree with Colby's politics to understand why his words hit. Combat sports and patriot symbolism are tangled up together, flags draped on shoulders, walkout songs that sound like parades. In a moment like this, it reads as loyalty, and loyalty reads as love. Then came a moment bigger than any individual post, the sport itself pausing to pay respect. At Noche UFC in San Antonio, the lights dipped, the screens lit up, and the UFC offered a tribute to Charlie Kirk. You could almost feel the crowd recalibrate. Less boo cheer, more hush. Whatever you think about blending a political figure into a fight night, the tribute made one thing clear. This story wasn't staying on the politics page. It belonged to anyone who's ever believed talking is better than throwing. Fighters co-signed online with RIPs and prayer hands that for once didn't feel like autopilot. Moments like this become memory markers. Years from now, someone will mention No UFC and say, wasn't that the night they played the Kirk tribute? The cage is where we sort out conflict with rules. Saluting a voice cut down mid-conversation fits that code, whether you agreed with the man or not. Outside the arena, tributes and memorials kept coming, so did arguments about what this all means. Beyond MMA, the country moved in two directions at once. On one side, memorials and vigils rose, like the public event scheduled at State Farm Stadium in Arizona, meant to celebrate Kirk's life and the work he did to get people talking, especially young people. On the other side, the political machine revved up, takes flu, blame flu, and the same fight we keep having in America got another round. In the middle of that storm are fans who just wanted a world where debates end with a handshake. That's why Rogan's plea echoed, why Sterling's debate, dispute, agree to disagree lines stuck to timelines, why even the messy, flawed reactions matter. They prove there's still a hunger to keep words louder than bullets. So what do we take from 9 very different reactions across fight culture? The MMA world didn't pick a single script. It showed grief, anger, honor, honesty, and hope all at once. Rogan asked for conversation over annihilation. Sterling offered a rule set, argue hard, don't draw blood. Mitchell cried for a family he'll never meet. Strickland exposed something ugly we'd rather not see. Covington stood at attention and saluted. The UFC dimmed the lights and said, "We hear you." Here's the part that sticks. You don't have to like someone's views to defend their right to speak them. That idea is the invisible referee in every good fight. Without it, there are no rules, just chaos. If we want fewer tragedies, we have to protect the space where disagreement lives and violence doesn't. A cage fight ends when the horn sounds. Real life isn't that generous. There's no horn at the end of an argument, and there's no reset after a shot is fired. The only way this gets better is if we choose to be the kind of audience that wants the debate, not the clip. The kind that shows up for the conversation, not the chaos. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. And to everyone who steps up to a mic, may your words be met with better ones, not bullets.